funding. So
I try to be very consistent, so I failed a couple of times here.
Yeah, I know. The superintendent called me and she was like, "Are you coming?" And I was like, "To what?" Like the meeting? I was like, "Oh no, I'm in Salem." He was like, "Well, all right."
Not like you're
All right. Should I choose?
sure.
Okay. All right. Since Kevin, or not Kevin, what? Since Rich is not here. Okay, we're gonna call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the City of Philomath Public Works Committee. Today is Friday, December 12th, 2025. It's currently 8:45 a.m. And we'll start with a roll call. Should we just go around and say our names?
Sure.
Okay. Brent Caseman, Christopher McMorrin,
Gianna Bernardini,
Lige Weidman, Graham Skeeter,
Gary Black.
Kevin Fear,
Chris Whitman.
Wonderful. We will approve our minutes at the next consent agenda for today. And then to make sure Brent can get back to the bank, we're going to, do we need to take a sort of a quick vote or consensus on the 11th and 12th Street project? Should we start with that?
Yeah, that'd be nice. So
Okay.
we've just seen a big price increase
Yeah.
from what the original plan was. It's just a cost estimate at this point, so we haven't gone out for bid, but before we put it out there for bid, we wanted to sure that the body was aware of the increase there. I think a lot of the increase just originally we thought maybe it was sort of asphalt the sides and do some
Right.
tape over it, and the reality is we're moving curb lines, actually we're pulling curb lines back in some situations. It's just a lot more work.
Yeah.
To do it right,
Yeah.
we could just throw some asphalt down, leave the curves where they are, but it's not really fixing the problem. It's just not even a great Band-Aid.
Yeah.
You're like putting Scotch tape on an injury rather than actually
Sure.
fix anything. So,
once you got into engineering it and looking at it, both those roads are so flat that
Oh, okay.
had issues getting drainage, so
Okay, wow.
that's a little more work going into it.
on the plus side, within our capital improvement plan, we took a look there. We do have a pretty good fund in our SDC reimbursement, which is dollars that we can
Okay.
use for any type of project. We were planning to use some of that money next year for a project, but even after that project, there was still going to be a pretty good pot of about 400,000 or something in there. So we'll have to shuffle and prioritize things a little bit more, but this is a high priority project for us in the downtown area. There's funding to do it between SDCs. If we had to, we could tap into some urban renewal. I don't know that we'll need to do that, but funding wise, we're there. It'll just mean other projects some point in the future, there'll be a little bit less money for, but.
Okay. Can you remind me what we originally, because it's significantly less than this originally, I think.
280.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And so then can you, like, the final product, would it be up to like similar standards, or I don't know, look as like the existing streetscapes piece, or sort of, I guess I'm trying to envision what we're buying
Yeah,
here.
that'll be at a 10. So it'll, new sidewalks, the new street lights will go in to match what's on the highway. The bulb outs are already there, but you'll have the cutway for the alley that goes through there, so that'll look nicer. But mostly it's just getting that striped parking on at least one side of the street on both streets, where you have angled parking on one side and parallel parking on the other side. Just to be able to maximize parking there. Right now it's not delineated, or there's no set area for the parking, so truck comes in and parks in one spot that could be 4 spots, and instead it's one spot for the one truck because nothing's striped and it's gravel, it's not rock. We're trying to get rid of as much gravel as we can in the downtown area because that gravel gets in the wheels and it gets out on the road and it tears the roads down quicker as well. So it's a good project. Just the cost of it to do it right is
Right.
about 3 times, 4 times.
Yeah.
The Band-Aid.
I pulled the cost from the streetscapes, because originally that was gonna do
Right.
all the side streets.
Right, sure.
years ago, and I think it just got moved over and not
Okay.
re-estimated or re-looked at.
Okay,
Does that sound about right?
Probably what happened, yeah, back from the 2010, 2012 plans and, yeah.
so you're just looking for us to give a thumbs up on putting the RFP out or our?
We really want to hear if you had any major concerns, like way too much money, not a priority anymore, for that much, there's other
Right.
things we could do. I mean, I could pull up, we can come back to it if you want to give me a minute, I can pull up the CIP and sound like what else was in the street.
Right,
If that's helpful to you as far as prioritization goes, but this was the kind of high priority
Right.
transportation project as
Right.
far as street improvements go.
I guess,
Um,
I mean, I like the project, I just feel like a change that significant also feels like we should probably check with the council at some point before we actually spend the money.
Well, yeah, we'll do the RFP.
Right,
and
right, so I
then
guess that's what I'm
that'll
saying, like, I think it
council
may
final
still be
check.
worth putting the RFP out and seeing, what bids we get, but before we approve something, I think, just that,
Yeah, that contract comes back to the council, and that'll get
Okay,
approved by the
okay.
council before we sign the contract for the work to get done.
Okay,
But there's a little bit of expense in even just preparing the RFP.
sure, yeah. What do you,
I don't think I have any additional thoughts. Like I said, this isn't the final decision,
Right,
because there is
right,
some
right.
costs associated to getting that out there. Ballpark on that, just so that we can say that we discussed it. Right,
Yeah, $4,000 or $5,000 for the engineer to put all that together.
Right.
As part of it, we have the grant for the EV stations. All
Right.
go on 12, and that's all tied into this project. So,
Yeah.
and we have to have that done by October, I think it was mid-October.
yeah,
The project has to be
Which
done.
we could separate. I mean, we could do just that area in the EV station and
Well-
not do the rest of it and fulfill the grant and not waste the grant money that we've got. But
right,
at some point, you're still coming back in after, later to
yeah.
fix everything else up.
I guess that's what I was wondering, like, if we only 12th Street and we didn't do 11th Street or something, like, was that? I
Whatever we
mean,
could.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, you cut the project about in half,
sure,
but some of that's you're paying for mobility just from to get
I
on
know,
site.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
usually
all
looking
that.
at, I don't know, the 20 to, what's the cost of medical mobility, like $50,000 or something for
yeah,
50? So you're paying 50 grand just to get them there.
yeah,
And then you're gonna pay another 50 grand next year. You
Right,
come back
right.
and do 11th Street later. So-
11th Street's really half improvement because he could we've got the new pharmacy that's landscaped out. Used to be a accounting office, now it's,
oh, the
Some sort of-
therapy,
yeah.
yeah,
their steps come down. He couldn't get that,
oh, okay,
ADA compliant or, without shortening up all the steps and everything else and making it worse, so.
okay,
And then, the plumbing outfit has, the whole opening, so pretty much the curbs are staying on that side. It'll be parallel parking on that side, on the west side, and we'll pave across
okay.
to the curbing and everything on the side, so.
Whereas on 12th Street, we're actually pulling both curbs back, is that, okay,
Just to make sure I was following, maybe the reason it was estimated so much less previously is because it was kind of included in the streetscapes project. Is that what you said? Okay. That kind of follows, okay.
hello, welcome.
I'm pretty sure I'm in the right spot. I was just waiting for a municipal court thing that's supposed to happen.
You might check next door. Why don't you go back out and go on the other side?
Okay, how
Talk to
long
Brianna.
do I gotta wait for the?
9 o'clock they open up. You're just a little early.
Okay.
Thank you much. If you want to learn about public works, you're welcome to stick around. Yeah, of course. So you're saying that if we cut 11th Street out of this, it probably wouldn't be a half, like, most of the money is probably going to be spent on 12th Street anyway.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's fun.
$10,000 for a landscape park? I'll do that myself for half. It's $2. How much landscape park is it?
So saying that.
Does that include, where,
The very last thing.
oh, bark, oh, I see, oh, I thought you were saying landscape work, and I was like, that's fair of a
landscape
park,
park.
yeah.
For mulch, 10
Yeah.
grand? That's nuts.
We go just get.
That's just his estimate though, and they usually try to, they'd rather be a little high on their estimate,
Sure.
engineer, rather than
So,
low,
Sure.
so I was not shocked.
so is there no landscaping?
Oh, there's quite a bit of landscaping.
No, I mean, that they'll be doing.
Yeah, there will be,
That's not in here though.
Oh,
I mean, all it counts for is a park. That's all it said.
well, that would be their landscaping.
Oh, okay, so there will be plants.
There could be, yes. Generally, we take care of the trees and the plants, because when the projects happen, they're in the middle of summer and the die-off rate's just too great, so
Yeah.
we usually
Come in
plant
later.
the trees and
Okay.
stuff later, yeah.
Keyboard's giving me a hard time today. Doesn't want to do the M and then it wants to do a lot of M's. Work with me.
If we had 10 grand for a landscape park, we should be able to buy you a new keyboard.
I had trouble with this keyboard before, but this morning it's like, I'm gonna do my thing.
It seems like if this is considered a high priority item, we'd be looking at this at some point in the future. This isn't the final
Right.
decision, it's just
Right.
putting out the RFP, which even if ultimately the council decides not to do it now
Yeah.
or some version of that, that's not a
yeah,
waste of funds because that could be used at another time,
Right.
modified.
right. No, I'm still fine putting out the RFP.
Yeah, right, yeah,
I-
yeah.
I do think I want to think longer and harder about.
Right, yeah, going from 250 to this, I mean, that's not,
Yeah, and I get,
yeah,
we're also, like, project has changed, like, we're not, because I think originally it was just
Yeah.
sort of like, oh, do some minor parking improvements and everything, and now it's kind of like redo the entire
Yeah.
street.
yeah.
So I get, why that would lead to expenses, but yeah,
Page of the CIP.
Other streets are also slated for getting updated like that.
not the exact same, like the full like streetscapes thing, because that's a very downtown sense, like, having, parking and everything. We don't need, you don't need a ton of on-street parking in a neighborhood street, but we do, we repave several streets every summer, just sort of on a schedule. And I don't think this would impact that, because that comes out of like even like our gas tax revenue and everything kind of goes towards just general maintenance. The one I wanted to check about was, I know, the only thing on here I've actually heard repeated questions about from the community is, the crossing there by Eats and Treats on 17th and Main. Do you anticipate this would impact our ability to get that done the next fiscal year? Because I know it's budgeted for next fiscal year right now.
So it's in here.
Yeah,
And I think the plan was to try to go after one of the Transportation Safety Action Plan grants for those, but we've still got to finish our Transportation Safety Action Plan.
right.
Get
Right.
approved and then apply, so we'd probably be looking at like this time next year to apply for those funds. So we'd probably be looking 2 years out to be able to get it.
But because right now we're just budgeting out of our street fund, right?
Yeah, but it was with the grant dollars coming in, wasn't it?
Is that what that's
I
for?
think this is the grant
Okay.
money that would be coming in that then would come,
Okay.
that we'd then have available. So it's, I mean, it's pending the grant. But
Right.
to your point, I mean, this is the money that I'm looking at here, this is the, I can't see that far, sorry. I'm getting old.
Sorry to our tree board folks that we're streets first. We'll get the trees in effect.
So low appropriate modification, we had $60,000 from SPT improvements.
Yeah.
We weren't tapping into any of the reimbursement for this engineering part, but we were gonna pull $100,000 from improvement and $180,000 from reimbursement. And the Main Street crossing was $308,000 from reimbursement.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at our total, but so you can see the balances at the bottom, sorry. So if you look at fund balances at the bottom,
Right. Right.
we'd be looking at 680,000, even if we did the 180 anticipated plus the 308 coming out for 17th and Main crossing. We'd still have 680, so that's the 680 pile that I'm looking that we could put towards this project instead of having it sit there.
Right.
And then we've got a South 17th Street Applegate to Cedar,
We'd have to-
$400,000 2 years out.
So we might have to push that one.
That one might have to be pushed, yeah,
Okay.
or we'd find a grant or, Safe Streets for All or some other type of future grant for it, so. And the 308 number probably isn't a great number either for that 17th Street project. It could come in, but I don't know. It would still maybe depending on us getting a grant for that one. So, I mean, there'll be repercussions for sure. I mean, we'll definitely have to look at it. So priority wise, to me, it's that 17th Street crossing and then this 12th and 11th Street.
Right.
I'm a parking side. It doesn't get cheaper to build this in the future, right? It just, the longer you delay on these projects, the more money you end up paying for each of them. But doesn't mean you can do everything, but it sure to get done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Brent, it sounds like we would still like to go ahead with the RFP and then.
I think so.
Okay. I think that makes sense. And I realize we probably can't do these both at the same time, but just even for the council, like I would just be curious how much it would cost to just do 12th Street. Just because I feel like we don't get a ton of, like I would like to do 11th Street too, but it's not like the world's most heavily trafficked. 11th Street? Yeah.
Pretty heavily.
I guess, I mean,
That one goes to the library.
yes, okay, I should rephrase, I mean, in terms of like what our goal with streetscapes is as far as like bike and pedestrian and like, business frontage, kind of like, that type of traffic. I get that there's a lot of cars driving on it, but
A lot of the push here was
Yeah.
really the parking expansion and trying to
Right,
get more parking
exactly.
in downtown, and so which is why we're starting on 12th.
right,
From
right.
that 14th, 13th, we're kind of working our way down just because we know when there's events and busy Saturday mornings and
Yeah.
things that people are looking for parking spots. We were trying to really push that. We talked to Ray on your point of that, we could even build that into the RFP, bid us out for
Yeah,
just
maybe.
12th, bid us out for
Okay.
12th and 11th, and then that full thing back to
Sure.
the council.
Okay,
And we kind of look and I'll spend a little time with Kevin at the CIP as well and looking at how things might shuffle out. I don't know if I can get you any better price on the 17th and Main Street project until we're closer to pulling the trigger on that one, but.
One question I also got that is actually kind of related to this was someone was asking, like, I don't know how this interacts with ODOT, but if we wanted to put in like a flashing crossing or something here at 11th and Applegate, especially during the summer with the farmers market and people like walking to the park, we've had a few sort of near misses right there, and the bus stop is right there, and there's sort of it's like that particular corner just on the south side, and I didn't know if that's like even something we could lump into this.
The
Would that be
starting,
cheaper
the
or?
starting figure on that ODOT takes out is like $255,000. And then it goes up from there if you have to add lighting above, because you can't just put it in wherever. They want lighting, they want, sometimes they gotta put an island in there, or at least have the, I think we'd be
I
okay.
don't think, yeah.
It's in there, but we'd have to look at lighting, and probably a big one, and then it's, if there's no electricity there currently, or
Right.
poles currently, then you gotta bring an electric in. And then, of course, we'd have the forever maintenance on whatever we install. right?
Sure.
So, that's kind of starting ballpark, I guess, in that 255, 300 range for getting someone installed. So we could add it in, but the price just went up $300,000.
Oh my God. Okay.
You think it's just a post with some lights on it and some
Yeah.
electricity, right?
Well, I guess like, do you think, I'm not saying we should, but if we did try to add it into this, would that make it cheaper? Because we're tearing up the whole road and have a construction crew out there anyway? Or,
You'd save on the mobility probably, for
Okay.
sure. Because they're already out there.
is it
But,
the
I
same?
mean, and on those, I don't think you're typically tearing into the concrete in the street, you're not tearing into the street surface or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know,
Okay.
look at it.
Right.
I mean, I don't mind the street crossing idea, it's just, it's a new one, it hasn't come up in our.
Right. No, I get that.
It's not in our
Yeah.
transportation master
Right,
plan, it didn't show up as a high priority or in our school circulation study,
Right.
it's kind of, I know
Well,
we had like one
I know.
comment this last week on it, but that's really the first we've heard. We're still looking to add crossings, marked crossings at 7th and 9th Street on Applegate.
Okay.
So we're working with ODOT to get the permission to do that. So we'll just have
With the bars.
the bars and signage on either side for pedestrian crossings. So that'd give us 7th, 9th, 11th is already marked and just not lit. So, I mean, there's other things that we're doing to try to make that eastbound traffic more aware that they're in town, not just out on the country highway anymore. Which will help. This is not the same thing. If we can have the rapid flashing beacons at every
Yeah.
intersection, would be great. It's just there's a cost associated with all of that and upkeep and maintenance and everything else. So, I don't know. We can do it a lot more. I don't know that I would advocate for putting it in with this project at this point.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that if it's possible to maybe do the RFP as what is the cost for both and what is the cost for just 12, I think that might be, I mean, do you guys have concerns?
Ready to go now, we have to separate that. Cost us one time, but I think you can do anything.
Sure.
We can
Okay.
put it out as bidded as 12th with 11th as an alternate,
Right, okay,
and then you can choose 12th and 11th or just 12th. Or
okay,
Yeah. Why don't we just do that? That's
okay,
get more comfortable that way. Then we'll spend a little bit more money and tweak it a little bit.
okay.
I didn't know you already had the RFP written, ready to go,
well, use
or mostly anyway.
yeah, it's ready to go.
Oh,
Only
okay.
because we have the EV grant that needs to be
Right,
done,
right.
the construction contract time,
Right.
ready to get it out to bid.
And I'm assuming this includes the installation EV.
Yes,
Okay.
that's separate, that's
Oh,
a
okay.
grant, so
Oh, okay, so it'd be a separate contract.
We're tracking it.
Okay.
same contract.
Right,
just
okay.
We have to track it differently.
Sure.
Question, just being newer to this to make sure I understand kind of procedurally how this works. Is this the normal way that it's on our priority list and all of that? But in terms of this specific decision, putting out the RFP, is this the normal way? Not usually. Okay. what's the usual way? You would just proceed, but since there was such a big change, once again, it's as I continue to
Yeah,
learn.
yeah. No,
To make
that's
sure I
fine,
understand
yeah.
kind of the mechanism, so normally this wouldn't be the case because of the huge change. It's reasonable prudence. Okay, I got you.
Engineers have to
Usually-
understand all
Yeah,
that.
right, yeah, so,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, you put it, oh, that's gone. But if we just put it
Right.
on the CIP, they'll just do the
right.
RFP. send it
Yes, and that
out.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So,
That's a good question.
The Lou's got check.
Yeah.
right, yeah, yeah. And I think we were talking about, $3,000 or $4,000 to put it out, just in terms of business.
Right,
That doesn't seem
right.
like the biggest deal.
Sure.
I just want to make
Yeah.
sure I wasn't doing anything like, yes, let's do it, but
Right, right. Yeah.
if it should go back to the council even for this part, but it doesn't seem reasonable to do that necessarily.
Yeah,
So
and I think,
it's a small business expense.
Right.
As far,
yeah. And I also think like the council, I like the idea of them just having the final decision of like, here's what it would cost for 12, here's what it would cost for 12 and 11. Do you
Right.
want
That
to
makes
do
perfect
both?
sense,
Do you want to do none? Do you want to do one?
Yeah.
And then instead of having to come back to them with more info.
Options are nice as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Can we get a motion?
Okay, I'll move to direct staff to issue an RFP, which includes 12th Street and then 11th as an alternate.
Second.
Okay. Been moved by Mayor McKinney, seconded by Councilor Caseman. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. I love these committee meetings, especially when there's only two of us. So it's like, yeah. It's like, okay, anyway. Okay, let's move on then to this tree removal conversation, and then you can run back to the bank after that. Thank you for being here. Talk about this. Do you want to talk about this? Who we do as a group? Great. Okay. Who wants to start? Okay.
So as you know, the beautiful elm tree at the library, with help of Cedars, Graham Cedars. We took a sample over to OSU for us, and it was diagnosed with Dutch elm disease. I am not by any means by an expert, so I'm gonna let Graham speak more like that, but it's not a good thing to have in a beautiful elm tree. So that, Graham, can you explain a little about elm stretching?
So there was discussion previously about whether if the elm was diseased, if we could keep it for a while or if it needed to be removed quickly. The typical management for Dutch elm disease is to either preventatively treat trees through trunk injections or soil injections so that they don't get sick. But once they do, it attracts bark beetles. Like the stress tree attracts bark beetles, and so then you can create a breeding site for those beetles to then take that disease to other neighboring elm trees. And so that's the real reason why we would remove the tree rather than just trying to slow it down and keep it for as long as possible. Because sometimes you can retain them for a while, but it's really a risk to other large elms in the area.
Okay.
There are a lot of big, beautiful elm trees on the OSU campus, as well as just a handful of them kind of spread out. We don't have a lot really around here, but in my opinion, there's enough that I would hate to neglect this issue and then let that spread to other neighboring trees.
Just to add real quick too, the mitigation stuff usually is done at like 5% or less. If there's an issue with the tree,
Okay.
5% infection or less, that's when you would do mitigation.
Sure.
If you start getting more than that, then it's not a viable thing to do. It's gonna be way too expensive. And also it creates too much of a risk for anything else that's out there.
And do you know what percent this was at?
I don't know exactly, but just a general, by luck, it's probably like 35 to 45%. It's a
That's more than-
large portion of the tree.
The way it spreads usually is like one branch of the tree will be affected, and then
Okay.
it's a vascular wilt disease. So basically it pulls it into the vascular system of the tree and then spreads. And so that's kind of what's happened at this point, where it started on the parking lot side, now it's over on the street side. So it's kind of beyond being able to manage the effect from keeping the tree. I mean, you can keep it for a couple of years or something, but it's not like a good long-term management option.
Okay.
And it just increases the risk to infect other trees.
Yeah.
Down the road, so it's better.
Yeah. If/when we remove this, do we know what we would want to plant there as a replacement?
I'd rather get it down, because you're supposed to also take away all the roots and stuff.
Oh,
And I gotta read up online, you gotta take all that
Yeah.
stuff out. Plant a tree there with
Sure.
something else there, so,
But assuming down the road, we'd want to,
that would be this spring.
yeah, okay,
I mean, I like to see something big and.
Yeah, right.
You bury it.
yeah.
I started putting together a list of recommended replacement trees as a,
Okay,
it really
Yeah.
doesn't have to happen in this meeting.
right,
At
of
some
course,
point,
okay,
picking something that, it is a large enough space that you could get a nice shade tree. And then I
yeah,
think
yeah,
something that will do well in that site that will also be a decent sized shade tree would be a good option.
okay. Okay,
Definitely not an elm tree, right? I mean,
Not an elm tree, but fortunately Dutch elm doesn't spread to other genuses of trees.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
we have a lot of options of other things that we could plant there without risking
okay,
affecting other trees.
okay. Okay,
So I can, I don't know if how we would want to handle that selection process. I could start by, suggesting a list of trees and then things can be added to that or pared down from that.
yeah, that's all fine. I feel like out of the people in this room, I'm near the bottom of the list as far as people who know things about different species of trees. So I'm comfortable with whatever the wiser heads decide. But if we want to put that on a future agenda or something, we can. But if somehow it just gets decided, that's fine by me too.
the hard thing about this tree removal, the disposal of
Right, I bet.
you just can't,
Yeah,
chip it up and all that
yeah.
stuff, so. I did get a rough estimate from Bill Dunn, who runs Dunn's Tree Service. He said anywhere from 8 to 12 grand if he were to do it, because there's some disposal fees. If we decide to do it internally,
Sure.
obviously that would be a cheaper route.
Okay.
The biggest concern I have for Lige and our crew is we're talking a 3 or 4 foot trunk in the middle.
Yeah.
We don't have saws that big.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to figure that out.
Okay.
I think branches, we have a boom truck now.
Right.
Branches, I
Right.
think we're pretty confident on getting.
Okay.
It's that middle of the tree. How do we get that out?
Right. Okay.
I did talk to Biggs Tree Service. They have a huge stump grinder.
Okay.
He said about $500 to $700 to come in and
Okay.
stump grind that for us.
Okay.
And that would take it all the way down.
And then how do you get rid of the roots? Like, do you have to actually get like a?
That stump grinder, he said, will do.
Oh,
I mean, it's a
okay.
huge, it's a
Okay,
beautiful
okay.
machine. Hey, or is that like a? He said he could do, well, the tree removal?
Yeah,
I don't think we'll do it in one day. It'd be
Okay.
a couple of days.
but okay.
Yeah, I talked to the fire department. We would probably burn it on site.
Oh, okay.
Back behind the library, we have a gravel area there.
Okay.
Burn season ends on the 15th, but they would let us get a special.
Okay.
permit To do
Okay.
that if that's the route we decide to go.
Okay.
Otherwise, you gotta haul it to, Coffin Butte,
Yeah.
take a special dumpster, equipment's gotta be
Oh
sterilized.
God. No.
Then, everything's gotta be,
Okay.
expenses go up.
And bagged up, right?
And bagged and wrapped and,
Okay.
yeah. It's
This is
not-
more just a curiosity. You said that it attracts beetles. Is that something like visibly you would know is happening, or it's all inside? You wouldn't know, you wouldn't see it?
So there's a fungal pathogen that's in the tree that when the bark beetle feeds on the tree, it gets infected with that fungal pathogen and then it can spread to other things. So the root issue actually is not an issue for that kind of spread.
Cool.
Dutch elm disease can spread either from bark beetles flying to other trees or from root to root contact. So the prescription for dealing with the roots is really more about protecting neighboring elm trees, and that doesn't really apply in this situation. So I think normal stump grinding procedures would
Okay.
be more than adequate for dealing with this one. If it was a stand of elm trees, that would be different.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. That's good to know.
And then the main thing with dealing with the wood material is that even if you have a dead tree that's a pile of logs, that can still be a food source for the bark beetles. So you need to
Dispose of that.
You need to dispose of that, and then if you have tools that are working on other elm trees, you could spread it mechanically through tools. So
Oh. Okay.
Be sterilized. Wow.
that's where the sterilization comes in.
Okay, so what do you need from us today?
Recommendation on whether to remove it or
Okay.
to, let it stand until
Right.
a different time.
Well, it sounds to me like we should remove it. Just. Yes, okay.
I have a couple questions and comments on that.
Okay.
There is one question I have is if there's any interest in doing anything with some of the wood from that.
Oh, sure.
Because you can debark the wood
Okay.
and then potentially mill it and do something
Okay.
with the wood. I don't know if that's really, if there's enough wood in there to make it worth doing something, but just because of the significance of the tree to the city,
Yeah.
that kind of raised a question for me of like, oh, do we want to potentially make like a bench out of this or something,
Yeah.
something like
Okay.
that?
Yeah. Okay. That's a
Very
good.
cool.
Yeah.
We're actually planning to redo the lobby at City Hall, and one of the designs I was looking at under the Windows display was just two tree cookies
Mhm.
and kind of put those together and kind of wrap whatever. So if I get a bunch of cookies out of it,
Okay.
we could repurpose those for sure.
That,
Probably.
you would want smaller ones for that, right?
Like from
They-
branches.
One any bigger than a foot, yeah, 12
When we
inches
do
and
the
smaller.
Yeah, when we do the branches, we could take some.
Yeah, just the branch ones. So, I mean, we could repurpose a bunch of that and make use for that. It'd be kind of cool.
I do have
Put a
a,
little plaque up and have a sign, you know, do a little in memory of kind of thing. It'd be kind of cool.
that would be, yeah, a pretty easy.
Yeah.
I do have a contact for a woodworker who could actually slab the logs
Okay.
and then make, like if we
We
wanted
need
to
a
make
bench in there
or something
too.
like
So,
that.
yeah, we could do a little city bench in there. Wouldn't have to be anything fancy. Just,
It's not a real decay resistant wood, so probably doing something that would be an indoor.
Yeah. For sure.
seating thing would be a good option.
It also might be if there's something we could put at the library, just since
Yeah.
it's sort of the library tree. But
That's big.
I love that idea, like you could replace the bench
just
that's
see them get two benches out of it.
Benches.
under the awning there now with like,
You could do live edge slabs and then make a bench out of that.
That would be.
exactly.
Because there's
Then you
that
could do
lower
benches.
4 or 5 feet, that's a really big piece, but then
Yeah.
it splits into, 20 to 24-inch diameter branches that you could get some boards out of pretty easily. So if there's interest there, I can get a quote for,
okay.
like, make a couple benches.
We get a quote for that. It sounds like our public works guys could do the branches. And then if we're gonna leave the trunk of it and maybe that part gets contracted out, somebody can come in and cut it and board, get some boards out of it, mill it down. That might be an option, still save some money.
It would affect the way that the tree is removed a little bit if you're trying to get some, 8-foot plus logs there.
Right.
You're gonna need
You gotta leave
the
longer.
equipment to be able to move that, maybe load a trailer, that kind of, so. Normally, the easiest way to cut down a tree like that is just indiscriminately cut it up into
Right,
short
right,
pieces and
right,
throw it
right.
in a burn pile. So if we're trying to get larger pieces, that would need to be a part of the.
Yeah.
That tree is pretty significant. I mean, it gets really big for a while, then it all of a sudden just goes like that. So we could probably cut all that off and leave the big dump.
Yeah, right.
Tall
It's
stuff.
really, there's one, bowl at the base of the tree and then it goes up about 4 or 5 feet and splits. And so I think the usable lumber is in
It's just
those
only-
branches that
oh, really?
split up
Okay.
above that rather than that short base.
Okay.
Just because there's not enough length there. You could probably get some big cookies out of it or something like that, but there's not enough length to mill
Gotcha.
boards for a bench out of that.
Okay.
I think public works will still be able to get those branches down though, do you think? Keep it, 8 feet or 10 feet or something like that, rather than 3-foot chunks. So maybe we can do that, and then if you've got somebody that can mill it, then we just get those on trailer and figure out a way to get them milled.
Debark first, all that stuff first, then we can transport them.
Debarking is gonna be. How do you do that? I mean, we don't have a debarker machine.
Would-
Debark it.
Would the high school forestry program have any of those?
They have a
also-
debarker, most of the
Okay.
forestry stuff is not set up for that.
Okay.
You just have to peel the bark, and so you'll have to split it and then just work some axes or something through to peel that bark off. It's not a horrible process. It will be a little bit time consuming.
I mean, it's
Something that
like
might
2 or
get
3
them-
logs we're talking about.
Yeah,
It's
but
not.
we're not gonna do the whole tree, we're just gonna do the particular logs that we think are going to this guy. So it's not like
Sure, sure.
all of it, it'll be, the majority of it goes to that burn pile, we burn it, and then there's like 2 logs, maybe 3, that are 10-ish feet long, that we gotta debark, so it won't be crazy.
Well, we can work through the details of that. I don't know. I need to
Yeah.
go through too much.
Okay.
I know there's mobile milling sites as well. We might get a mobile mill on site that could just mill it right on site. We don't have to debark it. They could just mill it right on site and
You,
leave the leftovers.
you kinda gotta debark it no matter what, because of the Dutch elm disease. That's kind of
Okay.
the whole reason we're taking the tree down. That makes it kind of important to do that first, to make sure that we don't do contamination with anything else.
Okay.
One last question I got
Yeah.
for the committee. Graham had mentioned that doing something at the library, some farewells spiel. Do we want to do that, or we just want to show up one day and chainsaws and move on?
I think we could. I think the thing I was thinking about on that topic is just, especially even if like Crystal or Shannon or something could just make a sign that we could put on the A-frame out there, just like at the bus stop or at the library or something, just like, why is this tree coming down? And just sort of talk, because
That's smart.
I just feel like, you know how people
will get
are.
mad, yeah.
If they see us chopping down the heritage tree in front of the library, they're gonna be like, wow, it's so they can build more houses. And it's like, well, no.
Right.
It's like, this is
An ADU right
yeah,
there.
right, yeah, this is a legitimate, like, yeah, have to take this down for the health of other trees and
You
everything.
want some newsletter too?
Yeah, I was like, if we could do a sign there, if we could, like, even have some, like, a little press release or something to that, just sort of try to get the word out so people know. And then, I mean, if we want to do a little,
That really was a request from the librarians.
Yeah,
I just
sure.
brought the sample
Okay.
landing in there. They kind of asked
Well, then
for
great.
something like
Yeah,
that.
okay.
I don't know if it's necessary. I think just a sign on the tree would probably be sufficient to avoid
Sure.
public,
Yeah, sure.
concern about
yeah.
it. But I'm not pushing for doing that meeting. I'm available if you
Okay.
want to do that.
I mean, if they want it, yeah, I'm happy to,
Does anybody know if Catherine Bisco knows? Because
I don't know.
as the person who
Right,
nominated,
yeah, sure.
she would probably be
Yeah,
pretty organized. She might, if there was gonna be some sort of a ceremony, she might be interested in doing that.
Sure.
That might be something that somebody in the community might want to take on and could
Yeah, sure.
do. That would be nice.
Okay.
But I feel like the person who nominated the tree ought to at least be informed,
I agree. Yeah. Okay.
send some officers to the door.
Sorry, should have laughed.
I was thinking on the flip side of that, on the replanting, that might be something we could tie into like the Arbor Day deal. I know we do it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
maybe
That's a great idea.
the planting, do it around Arbor Day and make that kind of an additional like
Ceremony.
event.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's great. Plant a new tree, we still talk about the old tree and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, and still kind of do like the ceremony, the informational deal, and then talk about the importance of replanting and all that. That might be a cool
Great
educational
idea.
thing that you probably get more people to a replanting than you get for a cut down topping. I feel like that, I don't know, like, and not that funerals are celebrations, but it's kind of like, do we all want to get together and be sad together? Or do we want to like get the information out there, write the obituary essentially?
Yeah, I
do
think-
something small and then focus a little bit more on like the replanting side of it. I don't know.
I think I would agree. I feel like the more celebratory thing would be doing the planting. I just think, especially if it's meaningful to the people that work at the library, I'd be happy to like do a 5-minute. I feel like it's a little rude to just like one day a crew shows up and cuts down the tree in front of their workplace without us, just without even having like a little like, hey everyone, we're doing this today. Like, I know this tree's been really special. So, I just feel like that we could probably make that.
Well, they're gonna know because the whole parking lot's gonna be closed.
Right, but I don't know. You get what I'm saying? Like, just feels like sort of,
No.
yeah, like just doing some little like recognition. I could see that.
I did reach out to their boss.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And, she said,
Okay.
she wasn't like, oh, we gotta have it.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Okay. I guess maybe just keep us posted when we know a date. for this.
Chris's idea of doing one at the end, plant the tree. I think
Right, sure.
that is good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
I don't want somebody to strap themselves to the tree.
It would be good to have either Shannon and Chris and I work together and let's get an informational sheet put together.
Yeah,
Like just a little one pager
yeah,
that talks about the disease and what's happened and the decisions been made
yeah.
and I don't think it hurts if we just want to do an event, let's just put a date and do an event.
Yeah, and I don't think like literally
just informational thing.
like no planning, just like an email to us and the library staff being like, hey, everyone, we're gonna start taking the tree down at 9 a.m. on, December 28th. Like, if you wanna, share a few quick words ahead of time, meet us outside at 8:50. Thanks. And then we can just be there and be like, okay, the tree's coming down.
Yeah.
Any
No, I think
thoughts?
that's a good idea.
I don't think we need to like make it some big thing, but yeah.
But I think the community, I do think a tree that size, that changes the look of Applegate as you're
Right,
driving by.
100%.
And a lot of people are gonna flip out just, I feel like warning
Right,
is
right,
super helpful
right,
as much
yeah.
as possible. Let people know
right,
this will be happening, this is why, everybody will understand.
yeah.
But so that, like you say, people don't
Think we're like,
all of
yeah,
a sudden
yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, I can't believe
We
they
just
cut
need
that down.
trees or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
There's
feel
a
like
lot of-
PR ahead of this will
Right.
really help.
There's a lot of information out there about the disease. We're not the first elm to
No,
get
totally.
right? So it's out there. We just need to pinpoint that this, another victim and here we
Yeah.
are and
Yeah,
we're all saddened by it, but this is what we gotta do. Is the responsible thing to do is to take the tree down and dispose of it
I
properly.
think it would be super helpful for whatever information goes out there to say the tree will be down
On this date.
on a date. So that, I mean, personally, if I was in the community and I knew it was gonna go down, I would wanna go down there and just admire it before it left. And I would be bummed out if,
and I honestly might say we could also use it as kind of a plug for the Heritage Tree Program of like, do you know another beautiful tree in the community? Let us know, kind of thing, like,
That's true.
we know
That's a good
people will
point.
miss this tree.
That's a
A
good
lot of
point.
people have, grown up going to the library with this tree kind of thing. It has a special thing. Unfortunately, it has to come down, but we have this program to recognize other trees. I just feel like we could lump that in there too.
Doesn't make a big deal. It was the first.
Exactly, right. It was the
Heritage Tree.
inaugural.
For the deal, was it? Was it the
Yeah,
first?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think we spent off of that.
Okay.
So there needs to be a little bit of lead time for when that signage is put on the tree or the tree's actually removed so that
Right,
that's effective.
right, yeah.
And then we need a little bit of lead time before the site's ready for planting for our
Sure,
day.
sure, yeah.
The other consideration possibly is that they're like during the dormant season is really the right time to do that.
Yeah.
So really any time between now and when the tree starts leafing out is
Okay,
the deadline.
time.
you
for
know,
the next
so-
couple months.
So we just kind of maybe working back from Arbor Day and planning
Yeah.
like what the deadline for getting that is and then leave a little bit of space,
Okay.
the signage to be
Okay.
effective.
Could we maybe even say then on this, like, and the tree will be replanted as part of like, just so, because I'm just trying to stay ahead
Yeah.
of the questions, or are they gonna, like, just so people know we're not like expanding the parking lot or something like that. No, it's still gonna be a tree. We just, anything like that.
Notice of tree removal and replacement.
Yeah. I'm even envisioning just like, one of the A-frame signs we have, it's just like, why is this tree being removed or something? And then, unfortunately,
Yeah.
OSU determined that this tree had Dutch elm disease.
yeah, put a
But-
QR code.
Right,
to
the city
touch on
tree
disease stuff,
board
whatever.
voted to remove it to protect other trees, blah, blah, blah. The tree will be removed around this date. It will be replanted this date.
I'm with you. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay,
I have
Oh,
one
sure.
other quick. um, This, this could have been avoided through preventative management of the
Okay.
tree. I mean, to me, I think this tree would have been a great candidate for preventative
okay,
injection to
Okay.
keep it from getting infected by Dutch elm disease. But in order to do that, like, we need to have a better inventory of what trees are. And,
Okay.
as far as I know, we don't have a detailed inventory of what trees are city trees. And so if we were to have something like that, we could then look at high priority trees that we would want to manage a little bit differently, because I
Okay.
don't think that we'd have a lot of guidance for. Is there a precedent for doing kind of preventative treatments on trees? I would assume there probably hasn't been, but there's a potential for that where we could keep a tree like this for a long
Okay.
time, or, you know, there's other
Okay.
diseases out there that can affect trees that can be avoided through that kind of preventative treatment. So to me, it's just a plug for maybe revisiting the urban forest management plan, maybe looking at some things that we would want to add
Okay.
that would make it easier to do some preventative things.
That feels like maybe a good 2026 thing for this group to look at.
Well, we have, Lige Graham and Bill Dunn offered to do the tree specification manual or in the arboricultural. Manual.
Yeah, the term that's for it, but the urban forestry management plan, it's,
Forestry and.
yeah, the urban forestry plan.
So we're actually, another reason Lige was here too, for after the meeting. We're gonna talk about Gary being able to work around Graham's schedule and Lige's during the week to get you some time to work on that and everything so we can get that done. John?
Yeah, to piggyback on that, this has obviously brought up this issue of illness in the urban forest in general. And I was wondering too, if there is currently any kind of, if you all do any sort of general check, if we have any kind of a regular, just someone who goes around and specifically checks out all the trees. I mean, I assume so, because city trees are always, various ones will die or do this or that, and you all know about that.
Drive-bys and we do visual inspections. I don't think Lige
Yeah.
goes out.
It's not, there's no dedicated written out plan for that stuff. And
Okay,
part of that is due to, we don't have the ability to do that because I also have to run the sewer camera, and so I don't get a chance to spend months doing that when we also have to clean the sewers and sweep the streets and do all that stuff. So we don't have like Corvallis, they have their parks department and their tree people that are designated. We don't quite have the manpower for that, so it's a little bit harder to do one designated person that spends all the time doing it. So we rely a lot on people coming to us or the other guys, me trying to explain to them, you know, if they see things or if I see things, then that, so it's not like we have this dedicated
okay.
thing to it.
And I'm wondering if we couldn't, I mean, and this would make sense if we do have that inventory, so we know where all the city trees
That would
are.
help, yes.
There are arborists around who maybe aren't in public works, but if we could get a volunteer or something, because I would, for something that could be prevented if caught early enough, what that means is somebody's gonna have to have eyes on all these trees at least once a year or whatever, someone drive through and just do a quick visual.
I've been here
Would that
almost
make
20
sense?
years, and after my first 2 or 3, I tried to get an inventory together or start an inventory of trees. And Lige's right. I mean, we have way too much going on to be able to get out. We've got a lot of other things that aren't getting done that the tree inventory is one of those that falls to the side. We've had 3 different groups of volunteers that have volunteered to do it, and they've gotten nowhere. Nothing has happened. So that's been kind of a frustrating thing, and it's still something that we would love to do, but
All right, well, let's look, I think we should try that again. A 4th group of volunteers can fail.
4th time's the charm.
That's right. Because this seems like something that clearly, I'm not saying that you guys need to do it, but it ought to be done. And this shouldn't be an impossible.
we need to have a
task.
hand in on it. We've got GIS, which is where we started with the high school, a group of their forestry people were going to go through and do the inventory.
It'd be
And
great if they could help.
Yeah.
helping that. I don't know if it was lack of interest. I don't know if it was I don't know why, but it fell by the wayside. We've had a couple people from OSU that we're going to look at that and, we're showed interest in it and it never materialized.
And it needs a champion that's not doing for it to happen.
Yeah, well, it sounds like we got some commitment, get the management plan put together. I think that's a great first step, and I'm with you. I think we keep trying, right? I think
Find it,
eventually
we
you're gonna get a
can-
group that's gonna, take this on and love it and take care of it eventually, but.
Once we have the list, then it gets easy. I mean,
Ish.
You can prioritize. It's overwhelming to think about managing all the trees just
Right.
by looking at them while you're doing other things. But if you can create a subset of high priority things to look at, then you could just schedule a 2-hour block to do a drive-by of those particularly. So you can break it up into manageable pieces.
Yeah. Okay, well,
you can do citizen science.
those both seem like good things to maybe just add to our agendas for next year.
We need a tree board vote on the removal.
Yeah. And the last thing this is not an important question, but just what are we gonna do with the heritage tree plaque when we pull this tree out?
Put it on one of those benches or
Yeah,
memorial
that's what I was
things.
wondering. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if we're able to,
But do it the one here that's in,
yeah, if we're able to mill some wood, we'll put it there, or
Okay.
if not, if we're able to get some of the cookies and do the
Yeah,
counters, then we can do it there, so we'll keep it.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I have one
okay,
other
yes.
quick, and it is related, this has made me also think about other vulnerable trees in the area, and it called to mind the ash spoil in the park.
oh yeah, it's all gonna die.
Okay, I know, everybody says this. Do we currently have emerald ash borer in there?
No, we don't
Okay.
have it, as far as I know, we have nothing in the city of Philomath, but it's coming.
Right. Is there anything that,
No,
do we have traps out? Do we have
There's-
anything where we can monitor?
it's,
Is there anything we can,
we could put traps out, but I've seen traps down at Mary's River
uh-huh,
put out by somebody else. I don't know exactly who it was, but so there are people that have been monitoring it. There are other groups that are monitoring for that. But we're not gonna.
There's a lot of information about how to manage emerald ash borer because it's been slowly spreading west, and different municipalities have kind of deciding how to that. It's not in Benton County yet, and so that is definitely a future conversation, but it is
It's just
difficult.
gonna spread like
It's very-
wildfire here.
So, and the main issue is why it's difficult is because you have to treat them as individual trees, and the chemicals for that are not approved for use in waterways.
oh,
And so it's like,
Right,
you
right,
can't,
yeah,
it's not practical to treat natural areas preventatively.
Yeah.
So you can save individual specimen trees, but you can't really manage riparian zones in the same way. So that's kind of why there's so
Thank
much pessimism around
Yeah,
that. It's like, well, we can't treat 2 million trees here, and it affects the pollinators and that kind of stuff, so.
somebody I know was saying that needed to be thinned. They were like, oh, that stand needs to be thinned. And I was like, oh, would that help?
It would not make a significant difference, no.
Okay. Okay. That's what I was wondering. I just wanted,
I agree, it does need to be thinned. It would look really nice. It would make it look way more park-like, but it.
I don't care.
It's in this
Is there
area.
anything we can do to, I mean, even though they're gonna get decimated, it's not true that every single ash on earth is going to die. There will be a few that will make it. And that is where the future will come from. So if we can enhance the odds that some of them will survive.
I think the best approach is
great.
thinking about like what succession planning is for, because you can assume a lot of those trees will die, but you still have an opportunity to keep that as a natural area, and we do want other species in there. And so looking forward to what we're gonna be replacing those trees with, or how we're gonna be managing that die-off is, I think, a really important conversation to be having.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up because I completely forgot. On December 3rd, I had a meeting with a constituent who asked me about strengthening the ash tree stand in Mary's River Park. So now I can say we talked about it because I remember
There you
that
go.
conversation. You said that and I was like, wait a minute. And I started
That sounds
flipping back in my
familiar.
notes. Yeah. Okay, well, let's take a vote then. I feel like since we should all go on with the rest of our days too. Is there a motion?
My motion?
You
My
can,
motion
yes.
to approve the removal of the elm tree at the library.
Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved by Graham, seconded by Gianna to approve the removal of the elm tree at the library. Is there discussion on that motion? The fire department has something they'd like to add.
Does there need to be a motion for getting a quote for doing something with the logs or anything
I
related
think
to
we'll
that
just
portion?
lump that all in as the removal, the whole process. So, okay. Seeing no discussion, would all those in favor please raise your hand? Say aye. Aye. And that looks like that passes 4-0.
I'd
So,
also like to state, in case
Yes.
it hasn't been mentioned already, this is a huge bummer, and this
Yes.
is an incredibly sad thing.
absolutely. And I think to your point too, it's like, sure, trees come down all the time, but that one in particular with its prominence on a public plaza area on Applegate, like that will literally and figuratively leave kind of a hole
Yeah.
on, on one of our main areas of town. So I look forward to, figuring out what we're gonna plant there. But yeah.
And historically, we've lost other significant trees in town
Yeah.
before, and it is, we still hear about it,
Right,
right? We
right.
still mourn the loss of those trees.
Yeah.
When the couplet went in, we
Right.
lost our holiday, our Christmas tree, right? And we still hear about it. So it's not a hole that gets filled, it's always gonna be there, you just will replant, but it is sad, it is a sad day.
Absolutely. Okay, then Brent, if you want to leave.
I may have to.
Okay,
Thank
yeah.
you. And once again, I apologize for being late.
No, you're good.
I won't make it a habit.
Thank you. Sorry, I feel like we talked a lot, so I appreciate your patience. Is it fine for us to just still have a discussion about the information, discussion about the?
With the tree board, yeah, you still
Yeah.
with the tree board.
Okay. Then I guess I'll note for the recording that Brent left at 9:47 a.m. Then the next thing on our agenda is review of our tree giveaway efforts this year. Thanks for providing this info. I was a little sad that not more people wanted trees, but, at least that was that's better than we have done in the past. I guess, yeah, anything.
I thought it went well. I mean, I had loaded probably half of those.
Oh, that's awesome.
Myself,
Okay.
vehicles.
Okay.
People were really jazzed about getting them. I did see 2 on 15th Street are still sitting in the pots. I'm hoping the lady puts them in the ground and picked them up. But
Okay.
I was out walking down 15th, right to shop, and looking through, I loaded up last week.
Okay.
Do they want help planting them?
She didn't say she did.
Mm.
I'm hoping those will go into the ground. I did notice a lot of them were root bound, so when I pull them out of the ground, it was. I did have Eric go and move them all around.
Okay.
We do have more that lies just planted in groups of pots. Now they need to be individual pots.
Okay.
The pots that we asked to get back when I was loading them, they were broken and brittle. To buy more pots.
Okay.
They weren't. If they come back, they're gonna come back in one piece.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
Not because of.
Do you want tree pots?
we do. We need the larger ones. Just
I have some I can donate.
if you have some donut, we would take them. We bought some from Chenard. They're like $12 a piece or something.
Okay.
We were buying used ones at
I
that.
buying used ones at that. So
Wow.
Yeah, because we do a couple rounds of planting every year, and I don't usually return the pots to the nursery, so.
Okay.
if you want to donate, Graham, we will
Yeah,
take
I
them.
got some stacked up, not a lot, but
Okay.
10 or so.
Okay.
So, I thought it went well. People were super jazzed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We have plenty more to go.
Okay. Yeah.
I just went out and tagged a bunch of them so people knew what they were getting.
Yeah. Good. Okay. That's awesome.
How many did you help plant?
I offered to, and then it kind of fell off my radar, and so it's still out. There was one or two people that requested help with planting, and wasn't sure if they had been delivered to those people or if they're still at Public Works. 'Cause I was like, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to go pick them up, take them and put them in, or just show up at the address and.
I don't know of any that need help that we didn't give them a tree.
Oh, okay.
I'm not tracking that. Maybe Shannon was.
I know, I mean, I talked to a woman who was like, I want a tree, but I need help planting.
I know, me too, but we don't know if they actually then called and requested a tree.
There was one
There was,
gentleman
I saw that email, yeah, that Shannon said.
that my
Okay.
daughter and I talked to
Oh, really? Okay.
on Cedar House.
Okay, we could follow up with that maybe, but I'll just say I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, so did I.
Oh, yeah, talking to people and
Yeah.
getting the word out, that was fun, and people were, I think, even if they maybe didn't get a tree, I think they thought it was a cool program and, you know, were excited to kind of see us out doing that, so.
I talked to a woman who was like, no, I'm not interested. And I said, we have all these different things. And then I said the word dogwood and she was like,
Yep.
wait, you have a dog?
It's dogwoods. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then she got very into it.
Yeah. I know, and then I said crabapple and they said, oh. No, but, yeah, I think especially for kind of our first try at doing this,
I would definitely support that we'd continue.
yeah,
the program.
okay.
Next year, I have,
So
yeah, as I mentioned, there's some changes I would make on the,
Yeah, on the car.
No,
Yeah,
but I think this is a good idea that we
Right.
can keep doing.
We're
right.
not gonna have the inventory, we're not gonna have the size of trees that we did this year.
Oh, really?
Again next year. Why?
Yeah, oh, yeah, you mean just, yeah, sure.
What's good?
Well, the ones that we've had in there, those ones are multiple years old, they're not just from last year.
Right,
They've been there
right.
For quite a few years.
Right,
They started as small trees and then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they come in as basically just this stick that's
yeah.
smaller than a
Right.
pinky.
yeah,
So those ones are in the pots this year.
yeah,
And next year when we go give them away, they'll be
Yeah.
like this big.
yeah,
So
sure.
we're not gonna have
As many more
these
mature.
nice trees that
Yeah.
people like, they're gonna get sticks and they're gonna go,
Right.
oh, this is small.
Although I'm
What's gonna
assuming,
happen to all the ones that are still here?
Well, the ones that are here, those ones will be bigger, so we can give those away, but we've taken a bunch of that out,
I
and so we
gotcha.
aren't gonna have the same stock as we did
Sure,
this
sure,
year
sure.
to give away next year. So 5 people to 10 people, or whatever it is, come,
We'll get big trees.
all the big trees are gone.
yeah,
And then
okay.
everybody's like, well, you're giving away trees. Well,
Well, yeah,
they
okay.
will be in like 20 years, but yeah, they're not there yet. So
Okay.
just as a heads up,
Okay,
doing it every year, we don't have the
Yeah, okay.
capability to have that turnover to do the bigger trees that
Okay,
way.
no, that's a
They're
good
gonna
note.
be just
We can
little
also,
sticks.
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I just.
No,
just a heads up,
yeah,
that's all.
yeah.
But
Like,
yeah,
I
we-
almost want, would it be
that
better?
could be
to do
selling
it-
point for next year. Get the last of the big trees.
Yeah, that's true.
Seriously, like,
Yeah.
be like, if you want a 4-foot tree, you're gonna get it.
Right, yeah. Okay,
I did notice that there's a related note in the urban forestry plan.
okay.
In the incentive section, it says, have the city provide low-cost trees to citizens interested in planting a tree. This is related to private property plantings.
Wow.
Once a year, the city could make available low-cost trees to homeowners. The city could take tree orders from owners all year and purchase trees to fill requests. So
I love when we
You
actually.
can't get any lower cost than free.
Yeah,
we have like the leftover Arbor Day trees, which are
Right.
very cheap.
right,
All of the cost of that is just keeping those alive until they grow up. But there is this other idea of putting out an offer to citizens that, hey, if you want a tree, let us know and we will get a low cost tree that you can then pick up. And so,
Yeah.
this is a little bit different than what we did this year, where we're just giving away trees for free
Yeah.
rather than.
I think it's reword that, it's not say a tree, because I had some requests for some unique trees that we're not getting. I already heard of that tree. Well, my uncle has it in Florida. It doesn't grow in this area.
But what I like about this, though, is the possibility of putting out something throughout the year and saying, hey, if you want to plant a tree on your property, come, like, talk to Public Works. We have some trees available, and if we are propagating trees or we're, growing trees here, those can be just an ongoing resource for people if they do want to plant one. They may not get to pick the, some special expensive tree that they want. They can go buy that separately. But if they want a free tree or a low cost tree, we have an inventory that they could pick from.
yeah, okay.
We've had some partners and corporations, I won't name drop, but we've had folks that we've gotten certificates for free trees from in the past as well. So there may be some opportunity to partner with folks in the community that they already have their kind of tree giveaway program that they'll partner with. Helps for the word, so.
Okay, so I feel like it may be good for us to like do it a little earlier next year. Do we feel like that's?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because
We were late.
We started like October, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which wasn't bad, but
We
could
should,
be, yeah.
We could push it out with the Arbor Day stuff.
That's true, maybe,
It's a good time to plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
it seems like an easy rollout with Arbor Day.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
possibly, we had talked about
Ah.
doing something at the Sunday market as well.
Right, yeah.
Kind of towards the end of the market
Right.
days,
Remember-
that could be another time. to
Remind
have
me
an
when
event.
Arbor Day is, it
Like
April?
April, right?
Yeah, April,
Usually
something.
last Friday in April or
Okay.
something like that.
Like, I wonder if we should just do a tree board meeting in March or something, just to kind of figure out what our game plan is.
do it a little earlier, because
Okay.
we ran,
February,
I
yeah.
feel like we've
February,
been
okay.
running up against not having enough time to do
Yeah,
some stuff that we've
sure.
been thinking about.
Sure.
So I would like to, let's get a little more ahead of the ball this year.
Well, yeah, I'm hearing two different things. I'm hearing plant in April and I'm also hearing plant in the fall.
Well, I think just having a meeting in February would be helpful, because then, if we want to talk about like there, that we can do it then, and then we can also kind of figure out, because I agree there'd be something, it'd be good to include something about this on Arbor Day, even if it's just like, get your name on the list, and you can pick it up in the fall.
Yeah.
Or we could decide to do it, I just feel like it's more.
It's a great idea.
I think we're having a public works committee meeting in February anyway.
Great.
VIP
Piggyback.
schedule.
Another follow-up question for that. We had talked about doing this as a way of planting trees in areas with low canopy cover. I feel
Yeah.
like we kind of canvassed those areas. We
Yeah.
gave those people that wanted trees.
I agree. And
Trees, so at least for the time being, I feel like that's
yeah,
somewhat complete, but we still have leftover trees.
yeah,
Do we want to maybe do something like just give away trees at Arbor Day that we have? If people want to come and like pick up a tree, we could have,
I love that.
at that event, we could just have a bunch of trees in pots and people could come and select a tree as long as they're,
I love that idea.
we can clear out some of that inventory so
Yeah.
the Public Works isn't maintaining those trees anymore. Because really, the longer they're in
Yep.
pots,
right.
the lower
worse,
value
yeah.
trees they are. We can get that inventory
Yeah.
cleared out just by giving them away at that event. That's kind of a fun,
It's a great idea.
you know.
People would totally come to that. And if we're gonna do it
Yeah,
at
we
the
already have people
library,
showing up to an
VSP,
event like that.
Yeah,
we'll have the whole parking lot, we could like, people could gather in.
I originally started the tree nursery, because we have stormwater requirements coming up with shade, DEQ's shade gap, tree planting, which requires us to plant trees along the streams throughout Philomath. I love the idea of giving them away to people if they put them in the ground and take care of them, but
we don't want to give all of them.
well, I'm not concerned about having them there too long, because we will use them. They were kind of planted to cut our costs for buying trees to put out on the street, or street trees and everything, and then it kind of turned to giving them away.
Yeah,
But we do need some of those trees, and once this shade gap thing gets done here in the next 8 months or so, we'll probably be focusing on trying to get a lot more plantings along areas that we can with the streams.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
And trying to time those right so that we don't have volunteers come in summer and do it.
yes.
There's definitely trees that we have that are not great trees for that application. And they're more just ornamental trees that would probably be better to give away. And then we have other, I think there's some willows and stuff like that on the list. Other things that are gonna be a lot better for that. So maybe we could split those up based on ones that would be great for a front or backyard somewhere versus over a stream.
We got a bunch of trees from the Fish and Wildlife guys, right?
That, we got a lot of the crab apples and then the alders, both of those came from those guys. They had like 200 or 300 trees they had to get rid of.
And they were just gonna like throw them away, so they gave them to
Wow.
us.
We were able to take quite a few.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think that makes sense to meet in February then and kind of sort all that out, what we want to do in
Mhm.
April versus like, August.
Will we be able to get a, let's say we pick a maple tree, a significant maple tree for this, will we be able to get that by April if we want to plant for the Arbor Day?
Yeah,
I
that's,
would think
I
so.
know a lot of these nurseries, they really push their trees out April, May timeframe.
I think it depends on, it's gonna depend on what we wanna do. I mean, if we're gonna try and put a big one in there, we may have to try and talk to the nurseries earlier and get it, and then either have them hold it or
It'd
something.
be nice if we get one that's a little bigger already.
Yeah.
I mean, cause those may be gone already by the time, if we're
Maybe we need to
later
make a
in the season.
decision sooner than later on because we're pushing February, March on a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We can get this, but we want this.
Right.
We might not get that, so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Graham, you could send out that list to us and we could start milling that through and see what we can get.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I said, I don't feel like I need to have a say in whatever.
is there, like, do you guys have a preferred nursery that you get trees from, or?
Well, we've been going to, power company's been giving us gift certificates, so we've been using, Garland's over.
We've used Blue Heron.
But that gift certificate doesn't work at Blue Heron.
If we personally buy them, a lot of times we'll go to Blue Heron.
It has to be a
We get
retail
better.
nursery for the gift certificate.
It has to be one that's on their list.
But it's just only their list. They take it.
There are other nurseries, most of them are in Salem.
The nursery I buy it from is Armitage down in Eugene, Coburg area, and they also, it's a brokerage nursery, so they have their own stuff there, but they also source stuff really easily from areas, so they can usually get
Use it Armitage.
Armitage.
I'll see if they're on the power company's list. So if they are, then we can use it. If not, we have money to buy $1,000 worth of gift cards.
But they usually have a much bigger inventory than
Really, they
the retail nurseries.
Sure. Tree below the power line.
Yeah.
Right tree, right place. So they send you to these retail ones where you get ornamental trees, stay below the power. That's kind of why they do their thing.
Makes sense.
I do have one other thing, tree board business. Our Tree City USA update. We met all the criteria and our application has been approved.
How many years is it? Oh my God.
We've been approved and I got the confirmation.
Nice.
We'll be getting
Another plaque.
flag, a little sticker. They don't give the flags out all the time. They don't do those on like 5s and 0s. Anniversary. So, but for 32, we should get a sticker for our wall and another one for our signs.
Cool.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
It is, we spend a lot of money on trees.
Yeah.
Never have a problem meeting that.
Yeah.
$4 per.
Right. Okay. Any other business or discussion? All right, then I'll adjourn this meeting at 10:03 a.m. and we'll send out an email about the next meeting.
Graham, you'll send that tree list to us.